Go live right now.
Mitch.
Okay, we're going live.
This is funny. The one day I don't wear my robe.
I know. I was like, oh, I'll just wear my robe. Candace will be the same.
I know. I just took the dog out, so I like put on real clothes, but I should have worn my robe.
Yeah, no kidding. Now I look like a plug that doesn't get.
It should be robes only on Saturday mornings.
I know. Well, Rhodesy was teething, so he had us up. Well, I was up with him from 3 till 5, so luckily he slept in this morning till like almost 9.
Nice.
So here I am in my robe.
That's amazing.
First one of the day. Okay, so good morning, everybody. If you're catching us live, please say hello. And if you're catching us on the replay, please say hello on replay. So today we're going to talk about foods and moods. So literally how what you're eating is affecting how you feel. We don't usually have like a strict lesson plan or anything like that when we do these. It's just kind of more of a conversation. So literally us having coffee together over Zoom. Candace is in Victoria and I'm in Albert, which is super far away from each other, but I think we're just having fun with it. So what would you say, Candace, is the biggest thing that you have personally noticed about foods and moods for yourself?
I think sugar, refined sugar, is what affects my mood most.
So like, what do you feel like if you eat a
lot? I just noticed that I don't know if agitated is the right word, but I just cannot, like, I react poorly to things. Like just the way that the way I process my thoughts, the way my reactions, I'm irritable. Like it's not normal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I'm quite like emotional, I guess. Yeah, like little things will set me off. It's like, why? And then I'm like, what's happening? Why am I like this? It's because you ate a bunch of crap.
So what you're saying is you're kind of bitchy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I get it. I get like that with gluten.
Yeah, maybe even gluten too. I feel like gluten more makes me tired, and then dairy would make me like uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But I think the refined sugar and processed foods is what makes me like, which affects my mood most.
The most, yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting how we live in a world where everything is supposed to be instant. So, or we're taught that. And so we think like, oh, well, I don't have a problem with gluten. I've never had a problem. I've eaten it my whole life. Or I've never had a problem with dairy or eggs or whatever, and we're so used to having it in our daily diets that we also, though, are so used to kind of feeling crappy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Sorry, I was just looking at the comments. Someone else is in their robe. Allison, I think.
Oh yeah, she's gonna be one of our guest speakers.
Oh, nice.
She's in her robe too. I love it.
I love that.
Allison, do you want to drop in the comments what you find mostly affects your mood in terms of food? Like I know you're gonna go way more into it when you do your guest spot, but I would love to know. Oh, Leah just hopped on. Good morning, Leah. Yeah, so I think though what happens is we're in this like instant gratification society, which means we also translate that over into thinking that a bad thing would happen instantly as well. And so we think, oh, well, food's not really affecting me. I've never had a problem with foods. People say that to me all the time. Oh, I don't have any food issues. And then they'll be sitting there and they'll have eczema or they'll have like cystic acne on their face that I can see. And it's like no judgment. Most people just don't know that a lot of these types of common things actually stem from a food intolerance because certain foods are different for every person. We talk a lot about gluten, dairy, soy, GMO corn, refined sugar, those kinds of things, because those are common, really, really common for people. But there's also tons of other ones that affect individuals. So I think what happens though is that we get used to feeling kind of crappy, so we never relate it to a food. And then, or we get used to, oh, I'm just the kind of person that just has acne. And you're like, okay, well, have you ever actually dug in and decided to go and investigate your intestines for a bit and find out if that's what's happening? Because that's literally, when you have something that's off in your gut or you're beating the crap out of your intestines, literally, then things show up in weird places. Like Rhett is 4 years old, and if he eats dairy, he looks like he got in a fight. Like he has a fight. Like he gets super black, not dark, black bags under his eyes. And the pediatrician doesn't believe me that it could even possibly have something to do with foods. And so, but the thing is that Reese, my husband, has something really weird going on with his skin. It's like almost like a psoriasis thing, but in little tiny patches. So we're trying to get to the bottom of that. We've been working on that for a long time. And these things do take time. That's another thing. You're not always going to have the answer just show up instantly. So if Reese pulls off of dairy, his skin clears up, not all the way, but it's 1,000 times better, like within 3 days. So we were eating dairy free. We generally eat cheese and butter in our house, but the odd time we'll have like ice cream at my mom's or at Granny's, like at Reese's mom's or whatever. But like, it wasn't until we pulled basically the whole family off of dairy, like even cheese and butter and everything, because to see what would happen with Reese's skin, that Rhett cleared up. We just thought he was a kid that just had those bags, right? And so I mentioned it to the pediatrician. We were there for something else, and he's like, "No, that's a crock of shit." And basically, I mean, he didn't say shit, but that's what he said. Basically, like, no, that's not even possible, is what he said. And I was like, doctors all told me, and allergists all told me that I didn't have any issues because they were running ultrasounds and blood tests and all these things, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with my stomach. My lower abdomen was sore since high school. I would always complain to the doctor that I had something going on where you couldn't even touch my stomach, my lower intestine area though. And so they ran tests and did ultrasounds a couple times and whatever, and they're like, "No, there's nothing wrong. Everything's clear. I think you might be making this up." And I'm like, and anybody who has food intolerances that have gone unsolved for a lot of years knows what that feels like to have that conversation with their doctor where they're like, "Yeah, there's nothing wrong." And that's so common. But the thing is that if we as people don't advocate for our own health, then we slip through the cracks. It's just the reality of the situation. It's not like doctors are trying to ignore you. They just don't have the tools to deal with that side of things because it hasn't been recognized, because every person reacts differently. Whereas generally with the medical profession, they need things to be held constant and proved over and over and over for all people, pretty much. You're always going to have the odd allergy to like an antibiotic or a medicine or whatever. But the majority of the time, they have to be able to replicate what they do over and over and over consistently with the same results, which doesn't happen with food intolerances specifically because each person is different. So isn't that interesting how but the more
it is a lot of, like when you said it takes a long time, and it is a lot of trial and error. Like I think about, like it's been over a year where I've been like trying to cut things out and like figure out, and my main thing, like I think I ignored how I was feeling.
Oh, everybody
for
does.
years and years. I was like,
because we
like, thinking IBS was like normal. It's not normal. Like your body's telling you something. And then when my skin, like it was my skin last year that I really struggled with, and it was like all around my nose and my chin. So I like kept trying to find different like products that I thought would help with my skin. But like once I cut out, like I slowed down my intake on meat. And then once I cut out dairy and gluten, like my skin cleared up. Not instantly, it took a while for my body to like
because it's not an instant gratification process. It takes you years to get into that position, and then we expect it to change in 3 days.
Yeah, but I noticed like if I'm eating crap and like eating meat and dairy and stuff again, then it will like start to show around my nose. And I always like blamed it on the climate. I was like, maybe it's because it's the winter and it's dry. It's like, and then it was happening in the summer. It happened when I went to New Zealand. It's like, why is this happening?
Yeah.
But it's the food.
Well, it's good though, because as we kind of go down this health path, like I never thought in a million years that I would have anything to do with health in my life. Like, like I always thought I was like a pretty healthy person, but I think that also we're in our society, we're so trained to think if we're skinny or close to skinny, then we're healthy. And like all my friends that are close to what society would say is skinny, have all these other problems because we have ignored our health.
Yeah.
We used to call us skinny fat girls.
Yes, I was gonna say skinny fat.
Like at the pub, we used to just live on like cigarettes and Diet Cokes. You know what I mean?
So
like,
bad.
And then we would eat pub food because that's where we worked and we were there all the time.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, look, Rhett gave me
is it from donating blood?
Yeah.
Good girl.
Oh gosh, I didn't tell you I almost passed out.
No.
Yeah, my hands went all tingly and she's like, she looked at me and she's like, "Are you feeling okay?" Like right when she took it out.
Yeah, that's when it happens to me too.
Yeah, every time. And she's like, if that happens to you every time, like you probably want to take a break from this. And I'm like, well, I only come like once a year. Like it's not like I'm donating blood every second day. Like, but I have really low blood pressure. So I guess.
I couldn't even donate the last time I went in. Remember I told you that in December?
Why?
Just my hemoglobin was too low.
Oh, I was 150. I don't know
Sometimes
how,
it happens.
but that's where I was at yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know
Sorry,
why.
we're totally getting off track.
I know.
This little rip.
What I wanted to talk about is that people don't, like with the foods and moods, is people don't realize, like I didn't even realize, like you don't even think about the gut brain connection.
No, you just think you're kind of a depressed person or
Yeah.
kind of an anxious person.
And like the more I've been reading about it is I didn't know that most of the serotonin is produced in your gut. And then that's like your natural happy drug kind of thing.
Yeah.
So if you're eating all of this crap and it's like affecting your gut and like making it this like undesirable. Marshall, can you hear him crying?
Yeah.
God.
At least it's not my kids yelling.
But yeah, if you're creating this like undesirable environment by eating like McDonald's and sugar and like milk and all this stuff, then the bad bacteria will like outweigh the good bacteria, and the serotonin it impairs your production of serotonin.
Yeah.
And so like that's the science part of it. It's not like, oh, I ate gluten and I feel tired. It's like, no, it's scientifically like reducing your happiness and like your well-being. So that's like something to be mindful of. Like it's proven that if the bad bacteria is like, if the bad and good is unbalanced, then it's going to
they go to
make you
war
miserable.
against each other.
Yeah.
And then you're screwed.
Yeah.
The one, like there's so much science behind all of it, and it's not to all, like I also think that it's not to say that gluten is like the devil. It's just that we need to realize that how we feel when we eat certain foods, and typically when we're eating things like gluten, dairy, soy, GMO corn, and refined sugar, it's in products that are also processed and crap for you. So I suppose if you were getting the wheat off the farm and you were grinding it and milling it yourself and putting it into your homemade loaf of bread with only 4 ingredients, like maybe your stomach would react differently. But we don't have that. That's not what's going into our bodies. And so we react differently to it. And the digestive enzymes that are needed to break down those proteins, because that's what we react to. Gluten is a protein in wheat. And like dairy, whey and casein are the proteins in dairy. So a lot of people will say, like, I have a hard time with dairy, but I'm not lactose intolerant. Like I've tried taking the pill, lactates or whatever. Yeah. Those are just digestive enzymes, specific ones for breaking down the sugars in milk. But a lot of people are like, well, I've tried that and it's not my problem. So dairy can't be my problem. And it's like, no, most people actually react to the protein in things. Same with eggs, same with a whole bunch of other things, which is why with dairy, a lot of people react to like ice cream and milk and yogurt, but they're okay when it's like cheddar cheese or Parmesan cheese or Swiss cheese, because it's aging, that protein ages, and then it's easier for our bodies to break it down, which is so interesting. Sorry, I just wanted to get back. Allison said sugar and inconsistent blood sugar spikes. So when I'm not eating many small meals or snacks during the day. Yeah, that's another thing. Like hangry is a real thing, because we literally go crazy because our blood sugar has dipped so low, and then we're craving anything we can grab. Like literally our bodies are in survival mode, and that's why we usually grab crap that's easy. And then we spike our blood sugar. So it's either sugar itself or something that converts into sugar very quickly in our body, which is anything white. That's why a lot of people go on diets where they pull out all the white stuff, like white rice, pasta, bread, all that white stuff. Bread. But that spikes your glycemic index right away. And another interesting thing is that we've also, from Cosmo magazine, thought that diet pop was good for you, because we've been taught that calories are the thing to look at. But if you look at the scientists who are studying this stuff like crazy people, a diet pop, because of its aspartame or sucralose or whatever artificial sugar they put in there, will spike your glycemic index just like regular sugar would, except then the body is searching for the calories and it can't find it. So it's actually worse for you. You have a worse reaction in your body. Yeah. And you know what's interesting? Generally speaking, I can tell when I meet somebody and I know they drink diet pop, because they almost have like a grayness to their skin.
Really?
Yeah, think about it. Now that I've said that, next time you meet somebody and you see them, like, I don't know, I can just always picture it. It's like, I think you smoke and I think you drink diet pop. Because I used to look like that
those
too.
things, yeah.
Like the grayish, the gray.
I never even noticed that.
Yeah, check it out.
I like that you brought up the hangry thing, because that's another thing that I was making like the correlation with, is with not being able to produce this, like the amount of serotonin that you need to feel good. because serotonin regulates like your sleep and your appetite. It's like if you're not producing those hormones or those neurotransmitters, you're gonna be hangry because you're not like it's not regulated, and you're not gonna be able to sleep properly, and you're gonna be grumpy. So it's like if you like impair that production, then it's obviously gonna affect sleep, appetite, and your mood.
I think all this stuff is so interesting, and the more I learn about it, the more I realize that I don't know about it. And I think that's the part about the health stuff. But I think if somebody, like if you're watching this and you're just getting started on this journey, like jump into our reset with us. We start on the 18th. We're gonna walk you through and hold your hand through all this stuff and give you so much more education. And like we have some awesome guest speakers coming in who are actually like, they have like, I'm just like a nutrition nerd. That's what I call myself. I don't have any certifications. I just have lived through a lot of food intolerances, done a lot of courses, like just kind of on my own from naturopaths and stuff like that. And then just read and followed bloggers and people on Instagram and people on Facebook that I love the way they kind of like teach what's going on with like functional foods or like the root causes of things. And it's just like, but that's me. I'm a nerd. Not everybody wants to jump into that. I think you're the same, right? Like you got on a train and then you just started gathering information, and it
just for my own well-being. And now it's like super interesting. I was like, oh, like if I've learned this, like when my other friends tell me stuff, I'm like, actually, this could help you, you know?
Yeah. It's just
things that they're not even paying attention to, or like they're just not aware of. And it'll be neat in the reset too, because we have like guest speakers who are like certified holistic nutritionists and like focusing on like intuitive eating. Like it's not a diet. Like this is what you can implement in your life that works for you. Like if gluten makes you feel okay, eat it. Eat organic gluten. But like for me, it doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just introducing these things, these practices and these foods that will make you feel good and eliminating the ones that will make you feel bad, and like enjoying that, you know? Like I'm not only eating salads.
Can you see on the door?
Is that red?
It's Road. Yeah, no, I think that too. But I think that there's two parts that I like to think about with this is like, what can we add instead of what we can take away? Like if we're focused on what we're adding, like we're focused on building dinners that have like instead of being like we have to remove all gluten, it's just like, well, what if we focused on creating meals where we were using quinoa more often, or sweet potatoes more often, or gluten-free pasta if that's your thing, or brown rice, or like we have to think of like it has to be easy, otherwise it doesn't happen, right? Oh, now they're all gonna fight. Wrestling.
Why are they so grumpy? Were they eating refined sugar?
Well,
they're hangry.
The two littlest ones ate egg, but Riley can't do eggs either. Like me, he can't do eggs.
Really?
Yeah, makes him like. I think he has an allergy to it though, because he gets like when he was young, he used to throw up right away, and like even now he'll go like white, gray, greenish, and like start to feel clammy and sweaty.
Wow.
And go up. Like so, he's getting better, because it used to be like even if he had a bite of a muffin that had one egg in the whole batch, he would barf.
No way.
Yeah. So it's starting to get better for him, because sometimes they can grow out of those allergies, but mine's like an intolerance. I just feel like I'm running underwater in my head after I eat eggs. It's brutal.
Yeah, that's so weird. Another thing too is like I remember a long time ago you had like that like barbecue brush analogy. I wanted to bring that up about like how it can affect your mood. Like if you eat inflammatory foods and it affects your digestive tract, then it's like you're not absorbing the nutrients you need to feel energized, to feel, but like, yeah, do that. I forget exactly how it goes.
Okay, so hi Jennifer, I just saw you hopped on. So basically what happens is when we're eating foods that are causing inflammation in our body, you can look at it as if you are putting a barbecue brush with like the silver bristles into your digestive tract. So let's think about the skin on the inside of your arm, because you know how it's like super sensitive and like, what would you call it? It's like really thin, very delicate.
Fragile, yeah.
Yeah, it's super delicate and you have to be really careful with it. So your intestines are built the same way. They're very delicate tissues. And so when you put inflammatory foods, like a donut, for example, is a great, I mean, once in a while, your body can handle a donut, no problem. It's not about never eating donuts again. But if you have gluten, A lot of them will have dairy, like cream filling or whatever. And then a ton of refined sugar plus fats and a whole bunch of other things that are not the healthy kind of fat. But like, let's say a donut, for example, you eat, or you go to Tim Hortons. This is a typical North American diet, something similar to this. You run by Tim Hortons in the morning on your way, you grab a coffee that has a bunch of sugar in it because it's a French vanilla or something like that. You're grabbing a bagel, which has a ton of gluten and sugar or things that turn to sugar. The whole thing turns to sugar right away. And then you're probably putting cream cheese, which is dairy, on it. And you crush that, and then you go to work and you're sitting at your desk, and then you grab another cup of coffee, right? And then maybe you mix in hopefully a cup of water or a glass of water somewhere in there. And then you have a snack, which is probably like a granola bar, which is again going to be full of sugar, or things like even granola bars made with oats generally will convert to sugar very quickly. And so we're eating that kind of stuff. And then we go to lunch and we grab something either at like a restaurant. This is like me thinking of when I was in corporate. I would go and grab, like, on a good day, I would grab a sandwich or a burger with a salad, but most of the time it was like fries or a pasta dish, or depending on where you are. And it's gluten, dairy, soy, or that kind of stuff over and over and over again with lots of refined sugar, because you're usually having a drink at lunch or 4, right? Like, so then you switch to vodka sodas, but you're still putting alcohol in, which is still acidic in the body. So basically what I'm telling you is, and then by the time you get to like afternoon snacks, I mean, not everybody packs celery and carrots for their snack every day, right? And so you literally put those types of foods that are the most common inflammatory foods into your body. And every single time they go into your digestive tract, is that barbecue brush scraping the inside of your arm. So the first time you do it, it's no big deal. And if you waited 3 days to do it again, your body would have time to heal those little grooves, came back. Yeah. But if you're doing it 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day, maybe ending it with chips at the end of the night, like you're scraping with a barbecue brush that sensitive skin every single time you do it. So now what happens is you're exhausted because your body is literally sending like little signals to whatever fixes you inside to go fix those tears. So they call them micro tears. And so what happens is, if you get enough micro tears on the inside of your intestines, then there's spaces that open up, and the proteins from gluten and stuff like that can actually go through and permeate out of the intestinal tract where they're not supposed to be, and wreaks havoc in your body, which is where we get disease. So the little signals that we get, like say cystic acne or the bags under the eyes or the eczema on the knuckles or whatever, like those are warning signs that you have too much inflammation going on, and they're helpful. We have to look at those and be like, yeah, sweet, like I just got that stuff going on around my nose again, like I gotta dial this back. Because if we keep ignoring them, other symptoms, like the body has no choice but to go to a different method to try to warn you about it. And eventually we get into diseases, which are diagnosis eventually. So disease is actually just dis-ease in the body. So anytime you have like a scrape or something, your body like runs out and tries to fix that. I can get into cholesterol too. Cholesterol is like so fascinating to me, the way we've all looked at it, and now it's like completely different, because it's the same kind of thing. It's like blaming the firefighters for showing up at the fire. So we eat inflammatory foods, and then the body sends a signal to the liver like, we need cholesterol, the good one, like to come in and fix this thing, right? So then the good cholesterol, that's what we call it, the good cholesterol, comes out and like tries to repair it. And then once that sends a signal back to the liver, like, okay, I think we're good to go. I think we've patched this, scrape. Then it sends out the bad cholesterol to go out and clean that all up and pull it back out so we can get rid of it out of our body and detox it. But then what happens is that happens so often. Most people eat too much fried foods, red meats, all this stuff. That's inflammatory in our bodies. And then eventually, sorry, I'm on a like tangent here, but like eventually what happens is they go in, the body could never go out and pull all those cleaning crews out and discard them. And then the bad cholesterol, which is actually the firefighters for showing up to the fire to clean up the scene afterwards, they get blamed because they're in the arteries or they're in the digestive tract or they're in the wherever. And then, so it's not actually the bad cholesterol's fault that they got called to the scene. Opposite of the way they've looked at it for hundreds of years. Now it's like, it's even the medical professionals, anybody that's new that's coming up through med school now is like, yeah, no, that's not how it works. This is how it works. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy.
Was telling me about it. I was like, yeah, I get it. Like, it's crazy. Ray just said, oh man, what the inside of me must look like after 2020 diet.
Or our years in Cayman. Oh, I remember eating like one meal a day and it would be pizza.
Yes.
Like that's everything bad.
Yeah.
Like not to say I'm not like I'm still gonna eat pizza. Like I don't want it to be like you can never have these things, but it's like, okay, I'm gonna eat pizza and it's gonna give a little scrape and then I'm gonna have time to reheal and then
The barbecue brush makes so much sense.
I know. I love that analogy.
Yeah. So like that's why it's like, okay, pick your inflammation, pick your inflammatory things. Like if you the majority of the time, if you eat well, like more whole foods, more fruits and vegetables, lean meats that are from meat is so important of the source of the meat. So often, like Reese is a great example of a guy who's a man's man who eats a lot of meat, but he cannot tolerate pork from the store. But if I buy it from the butcher, from the farm that does pasture raised out in the sunshine with like actual grass and like non crap feed and stuff like that, it's cost double the price, but then he loves it. He's like, yeah, my body feels great on this. So it's not the pork, it's the way it's raised. So
and like the price thing too, it's like eating well doesn't have to cost a lot of money, but like when you're thinking of saving money, it's like I read something about how if you had a really nice car, you wouldn't put cheap fuel in it. It's like, so you're like, you have a great body. Why would you put crap into it? It's like, we don't think like that. Like you don't, like you should spend a lot of money on food or not even worry about the price. Like just like spend what you need to spend to give your body what it needs. Like I often think about like what I spend on my dog food. It's like, I don't even think of the price when I go into the pet store. I would never cheap out on Marshall's treats or his food. Why would I worry about the price of my own stuff?
Totally. That's so true.
Right?
It's like we're also like with the instant gratification, it's almost like we've been trained to feel like if we got the best deal or the best price, it's like that. I think that's just more of a dopamine hit, like that instant hit of like, but it's like you feel like total crap every day in your life. Would you not want to spend an extra $10 a day feeling better? Like,
and I think right now too, with everyone like wanting to support local, like you don't have to go to the bigger grocery stores and buy stuff that's like cheaper. Go to like the smaller ones that are maybe organic or local farmers or like stuff like that, local produce.
That's actually one thing. Oh, here comes Allison. I thought this 2018 statistic was pretty crazy on Americans, but it would also apply to us. Only 12% of people are living in a state of metabolic balance, meaning digestion, cardiovascular, etc. systems, they're not functioning properly. Nutrition can have a huge impact on this as well and reducing toxins. So organic, properly sourced food, etc. Yes, I love it. It's so true. I also saw some stats 2 days ago where like 98% of North American adults are deficient in vitamin D, and over 70% have some sort of vitamin or mineral deficiency. Kaylee just jumped in. She says, and spend a few minutes a day to make a good meal. Yeah. Okay. So this is another thing, is that we are literally living in a world where we are like celebrating how busy we can be. And so when I wrote one of my posts the other day, I was like, you might actually, like for anybody who's joining the reset, you might actually have to cook some of your own meals this month. Like it's okay to take the time to stand in your kitchen. I don't care if you want to have a glass of wine while you're doing it, put on some nice music, put a diffuser on with some good stuff that's going to make you feel good in the air, and then make yourself a good whole meal. You can do it in 30 minutes. It doesn't take all day, but we're constantly looking for the shortcuts and everything. And I think when it comes to like creating like balance and joy, like there's no shortcut to that. Oh, her word of the year is balance. I love that.
Who said that?
Haley.
Oh, I like that.
My word of the year is rise. What's yours?
I don't know. I like the balance thing. My main focus was time management for this year, so I don't know, like balancing everything.
That's balance totally too. Yeah. Haley, what are you going for with balance? Like, are you talking like work-life balance? Are you talking like health or kids, or like what kind of balance are you, like what's the meaning behind, like what's your intention with balance here? For me, rise is just like rising up into the person that I know I can be, and I know what I want to become. Because like even this year, I think I guess it's not this year anymore. 2020, that taught us a lot of lessons. And I think if you ignore it and just go, phew, flood road of that, like it does feel like that. But at the same time, we still need to like recognize all the things that we were able to learn and took out of there, like quality time with people. And one of the best things I heard this year was, remember that comedian Dave Chappelle? he had this amazing podcast episode where he said, we have come like face to face with our decisions in 2020. So the person you chose to marry, the house you decided to live in, the city that you live in, the neighborhood you live in, like the kind of people you hang out with or don't hang out with, the kind of job that you've chosen or career or business, like we came face to face head on with our choices in 2020. And so I think it's like, you get to take that and move forward with it as like a blessing. Like, yeah, look at all the things that I was choosing by default and didn't choose on purpose. Or look at all the things that I thought that I really liked and didn't actually bring me any joy during a pandemic.
That's another thing that I'm focusing on is like things that serve me, like things that
serve you.
Yeah. This week or this year.
Okay. Kaylee says she's heading back to work after maternity leave. I take an hour, 4 days a week to myself to go train personal trainer. And with going back to work, I want to balance myself. The things I love, my family, my husband, and our social life, but also the 24/7 job that is being a teacher. Yeah. And she's a mother of 3.
Mm-hmm.
I hear you, girl.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Well, I think that going in with the intention of balance is a great start. I mean, if you start, because then as soon as you start to feel out of balance, you can be like, because you're not going to have balance every single day of the week. But if you're like starting to feel overwhelmed or pulled in too many directions and you're starting to feel like frantic, then you're like, wait, my intention was to feel balanced this year. Like I need to figure out what's going on this week or what I can do differently moving forward. I think that's great. I think most people need that. I know 2020 was like, I just felt so overwhelmed all the time because I had 3 kids at home and I couldn't hire help. And it was so strange. And I realized that childcare was like my number one block.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want. And so, because I have more time to spend quality time with my kids if I don't have to take care of them all day while I'm trying to work. And it's so nice to come downstairs at the end of my workday in my office and have like somebody else already vacuumed and cleaned the kitchen and started dinner. Like it's like a different world. So I think it's going to be an amazing 2021 for a lot of people. And it's just, we realized what we were missing and now we can intentionally put it out there and go get it. I love that.
Yeah.
Maya just logged in. She said, hey, girlfriend.
I just said good morning to her.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we're almost done here. I just want to get closer to half an hour. I know that you and I wanted that. So what's our conclusion of the day? Thanks, girls, everybody for coming on. That's so fun.
I think you just need to be aware, like pay attention to how you feel after you eat certain foods. And like, you don't have to be like super strict for you to cut everything out. It's like intuitive eating is so important. Like what makes you feel good and what doesn't, and like go towards what makes you feel good.
I think also for me personally, the way I learned it the best was by hitting pause on a few different foods, like the ones we'll be teaching in the Kickstarter, namely gluten, dairy, and refined sugar. Those are my 3 top ones. And so it's not about never eating that again. It's about hitting pause on those to see if the barbecue brush stops. Right. And so then if you do that for 3 weeks, and that's not to say that you didn't go out somewhere and have one meal that had something in it. Like we're not crazy about this stuff, but like if you're consciously trying to remove top allergens or top inflammatory foods out of your diet and trying to put more alkaline forming foods, because remember, disease only happens in an acidic environment. And so there's lots of things we can do to help our bodies go towards alkaline and the pH balance. And so it's about hitting pause, letting the smoke clear for 3 weeks. And then you can reintroduce one at a time and see how you feel to see if that really is a culprit for you or not. But until you've actually tried that, you don't know if it's a thing, because I think one of your girls is going to talk about delayed food responses, right?
Elena, yeah.
So she's like an expert with that kind of thing. And she's going to explain to us why foods take a long time to react in our body, or why the reactions are delayed as opposed to like a normal, like allergenic reaction, like an anaphylactic reaction that happens within 15 minutes, basically. So I'm super excited to hear what she say about that.
And she has a lot of really good plant-based recipes too.
Perfect.
Yeah, and even on our website. So if anyone wants to look her up, it's the Happy Human Method. I'll put a little link in the comments. But she just like posted this like plant-based quiche and like these other good ones. I was just looking at them this morning.
Well, and one of the best things you can do when you're starting your health journey is go follow the girls who are teaching this stuff, because little tiny bits every day that hit you on Instagram and Facebook instead of what's going on in the US election right now, like that's the kind of stuff we need for balance today. So like what are the things I want to learn more about and explore about myself and my health and stuff like that, and just like start following those girls. They'll just hit you with a couple of little quick tips every single day. I love that stuff.
Mhm.
Anyway, so bottom line, foods do affect our moods and how we feel. I think that it zaps our energy. It's brain fog, it's memory loss. It's like that feeling where you feel like nuts,
irritable,
crazy, kind of slow some days. Like, I don't even know if I should be doing this right now. Anyway.
And there was 2 things I wanted to suggest too, if girls, there is the January reset. If they're interested in that, message us. I'm going to be posting a live video tonight at 5.
Nutrition line right there.
I know, I can't wait to get that. But yeah, I'll be posting a video at 5 just to go over some things.
You're doing a video today?
Yeah. I know.
I'm going to be on like this. It's so fun. It's so
I know, I get so nervous about the lives, but it's just like such an easier way to reach everyone and just like answer questions and tell them everything about it.
Are you doing it on your Facebook or your Instagram or where?
I'm gonna do it on my Facebook. I don't know how to do it on Instagram yet.
Personal page or business?
On the event page.
The event page.
Yeah. So I think, I don't know.
I would suggest doing it on your personal page and sharing it into the event, because
Okay.
Like the way the algorithm works, it doesn't reach hardly anybody, even if they've said they want to go to the event.
Okay.
So I would do that and just share it into your event after.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Oh my gosh.
On my personal one.
5 o'clock time. Everybody get bells on. Candace is going live. It's so scary when you first do it.
I know. I always get so nervous.
Okay, so what are you going to be talking about?
I'll be talking about the January reset. I'll be talking about like how to enroll or how to register for it. I'll be talking about the lifelong vitality pack. And then I'll also, like, even if girls don't want to buy the whole package, the 2 things that I find, like, I love all of the supplements, but my 2 favorite things are the Terrazyme, if anyone's interested in that, a digestive enzyme. So I even take them when I know I've eaten a lot of garbage, and then I just like want to absorb the good food again. Like if I've had like 3 cheat days, then I'll start taking these with every meal. But once I'm like eating clean, I don't have to take these every day. Like I'll just eat them when I want to eat like pizza or cheese or whatever. And I've noticed such a difference. Like you take one of these right before, and like girls at work, I've given it to them and they're like, we want nachos. I was like, take this first.
Yeah.
And it helps so much. And then probiotics as well. Yes, like I highly recommend not buying your probiotics in the store where it's like refrigerated. I would try to get one that doesn't need to be refrigerated. And
those ones have like enteric coating where they can actually like withstand the stomach acid process to get down.
And this will protect, like create more good bacteria. So when you do eat garbage, you don't get bitchy right after.
Bottom line.
But yeah, message me if you have any questions or want to order any of those. And 5 o'clock Pacific time. I'll be.
Just saw a couple things that came in just 1 minute ago. So Allison says, as a tip, like also keeping a food mood poop journal. Oh my God, are you going to be talking about that, Allison? A food mood poop journal is a good starting point for figuring out if certain foods aren't serving you, as everyone is different. I love that. And then Keely says, yes, girl, vulnerability is where we grow together. Grow getter? Is that a thing? Or is it grow together? Grow getter.
I wasn't reading.
I like that. It's like a go-getter, but a go-getter.
Okay, I just read that.
You girls have a great Saturday, and we will talk to you all soon.
Bye, guys. Have a great day.